What's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about an alternate version for Dennis Nedry's death scene in the very first Jurassic Park film. We all know it wound up being pretty iconic with the whole venom in the eyes and Barbasol can falling into the water that went down in the classic from 1993. But at one point in time, things were going to go in a way darker direction. In the end, Dennis Nedry just kind of turns to see the wild frill of the Dilophosaurus, and then the camera cuts away to have that shaking Jeep and the dinosaur attacking and killing the guy. Of course, this isn't always how things were going to go though, because at one point in time, and believe it or not, there's even two different versions of this, Dennis Nedry was supposed to get back up after the spitter blinds him, and we were supposed to get a shot that has the guy desperately trying to get away from the same dinosaur on its way to attack and kill him after he was trying to climb into the Jeep. Now, this scene that we're going to be talking about today takes the whole PG-13 death stuff to another level, because here the camera was supposed to focus in on Nedry and show him getting forcibly pulled out of the vehicle while his nails were digging into the seat's upholstery, leaving behind a series of long tears in the Jeep's interior that implies something gnarly had happened to him for the guy to try and hold on for life so desperately. One thing I really want to talk about in regards to these old storyboards is just the fact that when Nedry gets ripped out of the car and you see the nails that have been digging into the upholstery, I can imagine the camera would have actually stopped moving and you just would have heard the guy get ripped out and be attacked by the Dilophosaurus. But I'm not so sure what's going on in that version of the script or storyboards, but there is one moment at the end that says Nedry's gurgling scream gets like gasped out to where it's just nothingness from the dinosaur attacking him, which is super spooky. I mean, like, they were really going that extra mile to have Dennis Nedry's death scene be extremely impactful. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, but it does look like the Dilophosaurus or Dilophosaurs were pretty much just scaring him all the time and tearing him apart. And yeah, it's rough, man. It's some dark stuff. Now look guys, one of the really cool things about these storyboards is the fact that you can actually see little details about how they would have brought these scenes to life, with sections at the bottom of the page that would have a note of whether or not Industrial Light and Magic or Stan Winston was going to do the effects. And there's not ever been a focus on ILM doing the spitter in the first Jurassic Park to my knowledge, but with Stan Winston, they really just focus on the quote, spitter legs in this part of the movie. So the idea would be that the camera follows the bottom of the dinosaur's body, and from what I can tell, you never really get that great of a look at the whole Dilophosaur, which would have been a really cool, mysterious, almost alien feel to the original Jurassic Park, more so than what is in the final cut of the movie. Also, it looks like it was supposed to be way bigger here in these older versions of the death scene, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. Now, that honestly would have been a pretty cool scene to put in the movie, and I think it would have been cool to see it in the final release. But I do also think, in my own personal opinion, that the final version that we got is way more memorable and interesting to think about. I don't know if it's just because we've always seen it and we didn't get this original version, but I love the way Dennis Nedry goes out in the film, especially with some people asking questions like whether or not the Dilophosaurus could open doors and all that stuff. Now, no, I don't personally believe that stuff, but it's still fun to think about and leave some of that, information up for the audience to interpret and live in mystery as far as the Jurassic Park movies go. Now, the scene from the novel is completely different, and something that most certainly would have landed Jurassic Park that R rating had they have focused on that. Nedry gets blinded, but then the dinosaur walks up to him and slashes his belly, spilling what's inside out onto Nedry's hands, and after that, the dinosaur lifts him up in his jaws before crushing him in his mouth. Now, the dinosaur was able to do all of that because it was way bigger in the books, around 8 or 9 feet tall actually, and in the movies, Dilophosaurs are always shown to be like super small, but even in material like Jurassic Park's River Adventure and the Lost World Jurassic Park movie, size charts exist that say these animals get way bigger. So I guess the ones or couple of dinosaurs that Nedry came up against were just juveniles.
Thought you were one of your big brothers. You're not so bad. You're not so bad.
I think one of the more interesting things to think about when it comes to Dennis Nedry and the death scene that went down in Jurassic Park is that you don't really see anything happen to the guy, but in pretty much every little piece of material, even the Jurassic Park video game from Telltale in 2011, they've got like these gruesome details of his body being left behind as a skeleton and the Dilophosaurus just like eating the, you know, he's got a large body, right? Like there's a lot to eat from him. And yeah, there was even a reference to it in John Sayles' abandoned Jurassic Park 4 script. It's very interesting that everybody has always said, no, his death was like super brutal and dark, but in the film itself, you don't really see much. So just something to think about. Toning things down while still implying that Nedry met a very bad end makes a lot more sense to me, especially because in Jurassic Park, the first half of the movie really does kind of just focus on the good behind the park with the scenes of wonder and awe from the Brachiosaurus and the Triceratops. But once you get to the Dilophosaurus, everything is after the T-Rex has already broken out and, you know, attacked the Ford Explorers and killed Gennaro, so it's a way different beast. And Michael Crichton's book had this whole thing play out in a way more aggressive way. I just got out of watching Primate, and that movie referenced Jurassic Park in way more ways than I thought it would, and it just goes to show that like these old school Jurassic Park ideas, which they reused a lot for Jurassic World Rebirth, they have the staying power that people say they do. And either way, all of this old material is a really cool look behind the scenes at what could have been if Jurassic Park just went a little bit different. As a PG-13 movie, there is only so much you can do before a film about dinosaurs attacking and eating people gets told to scale its scenes back in order to avoid that dreaded R. And Jurassic Park was able to coast along pretty well while still at the same time giving some seriously cool dinosaur scenes to get that PG-13 rating. Now, Donald Gennaro's death by the T-Rex, Robert Muldoon getting mauled in the face by a velociraptor, and Joffrey getting pulled behind the cage, those are all super cool moments in the movie. And of course, who could forget Laura Dern getting Samuel L. Jackson's severed arm just like dropping on her from the ceiling? That is some really wild dinosaur stuff. But look guys, Dennis Nedry is a little more interesting because in the final film, the way he goes out is in a somewhat, you know, ambiguous kill that leaves a few questions for the audience to ponder, like what happened to the guy? Like how did the Dilophosaurus get inside of the car? And whether or not it's the same individual that had spit in his eyes at the bottom of the hill. Now, I've seen the fan theories from people saying that it hopped over his body and waited there inside of the car to kill him, and others say that the dinosaurs hunt in packs, which I think is way more interesting and cool. But in the sequels to Jurassic Park, we never really got too much information or additional scenes on the Dilophosaurs at all. They're in Jurassic World Rebirth, and technically a hologram of them is in Jurassic World, but they don't do much at all. Dominion gives them way more of a presence, but even there, everything is a little bit too tamed down for me. In the first movie, this dinosaur was legendary for what it brought to the brand, and you know, it's all over the Jurassic Park rides. They squirt water on you and all kinds of stuff because people know this is an iconic dinosaur design and moment for the franchise. But yeah, totally one of the most underutilized animals in this series if you personally ask me. And as far as Dennis Nedry's death scene goes, I really want to know what all of you guys think it could have been if they had left stuff like this in the final version of Jurassic Park. Or are you someone that thinks that the version that we ultimately got is perfect in every way, shape, and form? Hey guys, I've talked long enough, but whatever your own thoughts and opinions on all of this stuff happens to be, I'd love to hear all about them in the comments down below. Now before I go, I want to thank everyone that's helped me build my channel over the years. I'd also like to thank every one of you guys who've watched my stuff. You've all been extremely cool to me. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and hope that you'll consider subscribing. God bless you all. Christ is King. See you guys in the next video, and as always, take it easy.